Government College Umuahia, founded in 1929 by Reverend Robert Fisher under the colonial administration, is not just a school. It is an institution woven into the intellectual and moral fabric of Nigeria. For decades, it stood as a beacon of excellence, earning its reputation as the Eton College of Nigeria and the Pearl of the East, producing some of the finest minds across Nigeria and beyond. This legacy has endured war, devastation, and abandonment. It survived the Second World War. It survived the destruction of the Nigeria-Biafra War, which left its infrastructure in ruins and its academic culture severely diminished. But what Government College Umuahia now faces is far more insidious. The risk of being undermined from within by opportunistic interference dressed in the language of state authority.
After the war, the college's revival was not driven by government, but by sacrifice. Reverend Robert Fisher and his wife, Ruth, heartbroken by the collapse of what they considered their only child, donated their life savings to rebuild the school. Following Ruth Fisher's death, Reverend Fisher sold his home in England and placed the proceeds in trust for Government College Umuahia. That spirit of sacrifice inspired generations of old boys who have since carried the burden of rebuilding the institution. In 2014, alarmed by the school's decline, the Government College Umuahia Old Boys Association, spanning Nigeria, North America and Europe, formally partnered with the Abia state government. Acting on the government's advice, they established the Fisher Educational Development Trust, a not-for-profit vehicle legally structured under Companies and Allied Matters Act to manage the school. This arrangement was codified in a deed of trust executed on December 22, 2014. What followed was not rhetoric, but action. The Old Boys, through the Fisher Educational Development Trust, invested over $5 billion without reliance on state funds to rebuild infrastructure, restore academic standards, and reposition Government College Umuahia as a world-class institution. They temporarily shut down the school in 2019 to undertake extensive redevelopment and later reopened it to a significantly improved standard. Scholarships were introduced, governance structures were formalized. A dying institution was brought back to life.
That progress is now under threat. In clear violation of the Fisher Educational Development Trust Constitution, the Deed of Trust, and the Companies and Allied Matters Act, a group of individuals who were neither nominated nor elected through the established process purported to constitute themselves as the Board of Trustees of Fisher Educational Development Trust in July 2025. These individuals include His Royal Highness, Eze Dr. Eugene Dimele, Honourable Justice Obisike Oji, retired, Dr. Okechukwu Madukwe, and Engineer Ikechukwu N.A. Ugwede. The process for appointing trustees had already been conducted transparently. KPMG was engaged to oversee nominations across all branches of the Old Boys Association globally. Elections were duly held on May 30th, 2025, in compliance with the Fisher Educational Development Trust Constitution. None of the individuals now claiming authority emerged from that process.
Yet, relying on alleged backing from within government circles, this group proceeded to declare themselves trustees without legal basis, issue directives to the College School Management Board, attempt to assume control over governance and reporting structures, purport to dissolve the duly constituted School Management Board, attempt to hijack the Government College Umuahia's bank accounts. These actions are not only unlawful, they are destabilizing. They undermine established governance, erode donor confidence, and threaten the continuity of academic activities at the college. Particularly troubling is the claim that these actions were carried out following an inauguration at the Abia State Government House.
There is no provision in either the Deed of Trust or the Fisher Educational Development Trust Constitution empowering the state government to constitute or inaugurate trustees. At most, the government is entitled to nominate 2 trustees, nothing more. Governor Alex Otti intervened on September 11, 2025, in a meeting with all parties, where the authority of the duly constituted Board of Trustees was reportedly affirmed. However, subsequent actions and communications attributed to government channels appear inconsistent with that directive, raising serious concerns about internal contradictions within the state's administrative machinery, especially the involvement of Ugochukwu Okorofo, the governor's uncle, who the governor calls Dey. Despite the governor's intervention, the self-styled trustees have continued to assert authority, deepening divisions within the Old Boys Association and creating uncertainty in the management of the college. This situation raises a fundamental question. What message does this send to private investors and development partners? If a legally structured, donor-funded, non-profit educational initiative, backed by formal agreements and verifiable investment, can be subjected to attempted takeover through informal influence, what protection exists for future public-private partnerships in Abia State?
This is not merely an alumni dispute. It is a test of governance, rule of law, and the credibility of Abia State as a destination for responsible investment. Governor Otti now faces a defining moment. A clear, unequivocal reaffirmation of the rule of law, grounded in the Deed of Trust and the Fisher Educational Development Trust Constitution, is urgently required. Anything less risks not only the collapse of years of painstaking reconstruction at Government College Umuahia, but also lasting reputational damage to the state. Government College Umuahia has survived wars and neglect. It should not be allowed to fall to administrative overreach and opportunism. The time to act is now.